Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk It Out. Today, I have here with me Eric Camarillo. Did I pronounce your last name right?
Yeah, pretty much. Camarillo.
Camarillo. Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Awesome, awesome. So, you are the president of SALT Outreach. Can you just tell us a little bit about that ministry, what it is, what it consists of, and what you do on the day to day with that
Yeah,
ministry?
yeah. So yeah, no, we run a mobile day service center for the unsheltered. So
Hmm.
we offer showers through a shower trailer, laundry through a laundry trailer. We offer haircuts, clothing and hygiene product through a clothing trailer, providing storage services through a box truck with a locker system. For those that need to go to work, they can store their belongings and know that they're going to be safe.
Hmm.
We also offer food, PPE, mail services, and then we actually just launched the case management program in January. So we
Awesome.
have case managers that are helping to, if someone's interested, we they come for services, but it's also to help build trust and relationship. And when someone is interested in helping to end their homelessness, then we get them linked to our case management team and they'll get them to where they need to go or do what they need to do to help get them onto that path.
That
So
is,
yeah, we also have an outreach pastor. I almost forgot to mention that he kind of focuses on helping to meet the spiritual needs. So he kind of acts as a chaplain
hmm
for the unsheltered here. Yeah.
that's amazing. I think when I first started with SALT, I did start with the outreach department. I started going to a few meetings and then like ventured off into the homebound ministry that you're spearheading, and it's amazing, amazing work that you all are doing, and it's God's work, and just thank you all for doing it, truly.
Amen. Amen. Yeah.
But before we just get into the deep, deep of this conversation, I do want to ask you a question just to start us off. And this is part of our segment called Playlist Fire or Playlist Fire. So it's just basically one of your either favorite quotes or songs that somebody has to have on their playlist that you think just encourages you in the day to day of your life, or just you think it's an amazing song, and tell the people that they need to add it to their playlist.
Yeah. So a song, I always have different, I don't know, songs that I just really feel pulled to at different times of my life.
Mm-hmm.
One song that's really been kind of deep that I've been kind of singing to myself in the shower with has been a song called Heart Change by Seeker and Servant.
Heart change.
Yeah, Heart Change by Seeker and Servant. They're a Christian band, and it's just a beautiful song. It's like a prayer, I guess, like a prayer
Mm-hmm.
to God that for God to change our hearts and not to allow the things of this world to distract us, and sin to distract us, but to keep pushing forward, keeping our eyes kind of uh, on God and on His truth, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's yeah, but it's really beautiful. Yeah, you should definitely hear it if you haven't.
I haven't, and so I'm definitely gonna check it out. And if you say it's good, then I'm gonna trust you and add it to the playlist for that Sabbath worship.
Cool.
And thank you for
hmm
letting the people know about that. Do you have a quote that inspires you on the day to day or just in life in general?
Hmm. Um, a quote that inspired me as we were getting Salt started and going, we've always dreamed of having Salt being like a place where people can do ministry full time,
Hmm.
and we God has really been kind of expanding our capacity to serve others, and that means increased, the increased need for donations, but the increased need for having people here on a continual basis. So like we entered 2020 as an all volunteer organization still, but now at this current time we have 7 full-time employees and 12 part-time employees.
Hmm.
And so that's always been a dream of ours. And part of the reason we started Salt there was something that someone had told me that always kind of stuck with me, and
Mhm.
I was trying to figure out what God had called me to do, and there wasn't really anything that I truly love to do,
Mhm.
and he told me that if your dream job isn't out there, create it. And that's kind of, I feel like, what's happened with Salt. We've all worked together to make an impact here in the community, and God has been
Mhm.
blessing us with funding, to be able to have full-time staff here, and for me to quit my job in April and do this full time. It has been kind of a dream come true. So that quote has always stuck with me. And it's not a quote from any, it's just from someone that just I talked to one time that was just really inspiring to me.
That is truly amazing. If your dream job isn't out there, create it. And that is exactly what you did. And you're pursuing your dreams, but you're also making a great impact in this world. And if that isn't a dream job, I don't know what is. That's amazing.
Amen. Praise God.
So I was looking at your LinkedIn page, and I saw that your education background and everything has kind of led up to what you're currently doing now with this homebound ministry. So I just wanted to know what like the true or like the core inspiration behind this ministry was. Like, what really is there a personal story behind why you started in the homebound ministry?
Yeah. So the homebound ministry started with, when Salt started as a way to engage young adults, bring young adults together from our church to be able to impact the community, and measurable impact. And in order to have a measurable impact, relationships have to be created, and that was really why Salt started. And the homebound ministry started with two women that wanted to go and feed about 10 to 15 people that were experiencing homelessness in downtown Orlando. And then from there, it just kind of grew from there.
Mhm.
Um, we had different outreaches at that time, but the homebound outreach was the one that kind of was closest to my heart. I think for a couple reasons. One of them was that I had experienced homelessness myself,
Mhm.
when I was younger, and so having gone through that experience, I think that kind of helped me to have a deeper understanding of what our unsheltered friends are going through,
Mhm.
which kind of um, helped with my passion, in this outreach.
Mhm.
But also, there was a homeless woman that God spoke through the month before we started Salt, and that experience itself helped really to inspire um, the organization as a whole, even starting. So yeah, those are the two things I think that stick out the most.
That is amazing. Do you mind just going a bit deeper into your experience with homelessness? How old were you, and what exactly that led to that time
Yeah,
of your life?
yeah. So I think I was 19 or 20, and I was trying to start a business in Chicago, basically, and I was doing really well here with this business, and it was sales, and they wanted me to try and start an office somewhere else, and I chose Chicago because that's where I grew up. And so I went out there, and I don't know what I was thinking, but I only had enough. I thought that I could get it going in 2 weeks and
Mhm.
then be able to manage it remotely. But it didn't turn out that way. I needed to be out there a lot longer. Instead of 2 weeks, I was out there for 6 months. And so I basically depleted my funds in 2 weeks because that's all I had planned for. And so I just continued to just sleeping in my car at that time. Um, I if I had to eat, I would go to a Mexican restaurant and eat the nachos and salsa they give you in the beginning before you get the food that's free. Then I'd leave, or if I had $1, I'd get a piece of bread at Panera Bread, and get a bunch of butter, and just like that would be my breakfast and my dinner. I have to clean up in 7-Eleven bathrooms, and I would even uh, you know, it was just. It was crazy. Yeah, it was crazy of me to do that. I should have just went home. I think I was just really stubborn. But having experienced all that, um, it I think, those basic needs like showers and laundry and all that, I really struggled to get those needs met. And I didn't feel like there was anywhere I felt comfortable going. I didn't want to go inside a building somewhere and to do something. I didn't even know of any shelters or anything like that that I could go to. And on top of all that, I was still wearing a suit and tie going in and having
Right.
meetings. And so it was rough. But yeah, that's kind of um how my experience was. Yeah. And it was the winter too. So that was
Oh,
another
wow.
thing. Yeah. I did have at different times like friends that would let me take a shower in their house, or at one time I was able to stay somewhere for like a month in that 6 month period, but for the most part I was sleeping in my car. So
Well, thank you so much for sharing that, and that history as to how you started, and just having an empathetic nature towards the homebound and the homeless and what they get to experience, on some level is just amazing. And it's part of the reason I'm assuming you're here, and that God probably allowed you to experience that. So thank you again for sharing that with us.
yeah, yeah, of course.
So next question being, what has been your greatest lesson working with the homeless slash homebound thus far?
Yeah. Um so greatest lesson, I think the greatest lesson I've learned is as you work with the unsheltered, I think society, I think maybe other people kind of put labels and stereotypes towards someone that's experiencing homelessness. Um, I think one of the greatest lessons it's taught me is to really kind of uh, look at the whole picture, to know that this person isn't just because this person is experiencing homelessness doesn't make this person any less of a person. They had went through they have gone through sometimes broken families, mental illness, addictions, abuse, sometimes sexual abuse. There are some people that just they get a divorce and they have nowhere else to go, and they're on the street. Some people get arrested, they come out of jail, they don't have anyone that is there to help them and be there for them. They all have a story, and I think it's really kind of taught me that perspective, to have that perspective, like really early on, like, hey, there's a story here. Um, they're where they are because it could be a combination of their own choices and circumstances, but at the end of the day, um, they have uh, they have a deep story that you don't know. And so yeah, I think that's helped me a lot working with the unsheltered.
Yeah, that is very true. I was scrolling through Instagram the other day, and I saw this post, just saying that we're all, or most of us are, just one step, one choice, one loss in life or financial circumstances away from being in that situation.
Right.
And to just discredit somebody completely, because they're in that situation, and their story and their background and their human beingness, if that is even a word,
Hmm.
it's just, it's not okay. And you're
Yeah.
so right. We all have a story, no matter our circumstance, no matter our situation, whether it be homeless or not. So
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
what are your current goals for Salt Homebound Ministry? And I just want to just congratulate you and your team and everybody that has volunteered to get Salt to where it is. I mean, it's just amazing to see the growth that has happened over the past years, and where you are now, and the exposure that you all are getting, and being able to reach a wider audience of people, for lack of a better
Hmm.
word. So,
Yeah.
what are the current goals for the future regarding Salt Ministry?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. We we're currently operating 5 days a week now, serving about 550 to 600 people a week.
Mhm.
We are wanting to take things to the next level, and we want to start going into building affordable housing from tiny homes. We call them tiny homes, but they're not really that tiny. They're we're going to make them out of 40-foot shipping containers, and we're going to just have affordable housing available for someone experiencing homelessness. So that's going to be a kind of a key place that we're moving into. We're going to start maybe launching that fundraiser next week, to start going into that space, because there just is not enough affordable housing for people, and that's why there's so many people that are unsheltered because they can't afford housing.
Mhm.
Make if you're working a job making $10 an hour, you're not going to find a place that you can live. You're gonna, you know what I mean. You're gonna have to find a roommate somewhere to make that work. So that's one thing that we're aiming for. We're also aiming to expand. So we want to duplicate what we're doing in other areas. So we are going to be expanding to Stanford starting October 1st. And then we want to really see this in every major city that needs day services.
Mhm.
So, so that's something we're looking forward to. And on top of that, we want to increase our impact. So far in 6 months this year, we surpassed our 12-month impact last year. And so we're hoping this year to double our impact from last year, and just to become more effective in not only meeting the needs of the unsheltered, but just getting them housed, getting them in a place where they're safe and that they have shelter. So that's something that we're also really aiming to work on.
Awesome, awesome. Um, do you think, and I know that this seems like kind of a futile question now that I just heard your previous answer, but I'm still going to ask it. But do you think that there can be a permanent end to homelessness, whether it be statewide, countrywide, nationwide, or worldwide? And if yes, how and why do you think that can happen?
Yeah, so I do think that, I mean, there are some cities that have effectively ended homelessness. They have, they're at, there's a term for it. I forget the term off the top of my head, but there's a term for it where basically, yeah, homelessness has ended for those cities.
Mhm.
And so the cities that were most successful in helping to end their homelessness are cities that have a combination of day services and shelter services.
Mhm.
Um, Cities that just have shelter services, it's without the day services have not been as successful, and cities that just have day services and no shelter services have not been. So I think, that being said, comprehensive day service centers need to be put in cities that just have a heavy shelter presence.
Mhm.
So do I think that homelessness can end? I do think I have to believe that homelessness can be ended. And so that's something that we're shooting for, to help end homelessness, and in the way that, and really kind of play the role that we're meant to play in that for people. So yeah.
That's amazing. And I definitely believe and hope that, this ministry can do that here in Orlando and greater Orlando and moving possibly even nationwide or just statewide, whatever the dreams and the goals are regarding that. I do hope and pray that that is a possibility, first off.
Yeah, we do too.
Um, so what would you view as your biggest achievement thus far with Salt Homebound Ministry?
So, hmm, I think our biggest achievement, man, I feel like God has really uh, helped us to accomplish a lot in a short amount of time. But I think one of the most impactful achievements that have happened recently is launching our case management program. Without a case management program, we found that last year, 30% of the people we served after services with us took the next step to end their homelessness, and 17% transitioned to shelter or housing after services with us. This is through a coordinated community effort. So everyone surrounding that one person with services. This year, we're already seeing that that number is going to increase because of our case management team who's able to do these things directly. They're able to directly make a plan for someone to help them take that next step, and in some cases get people into housing. We had a client on Sunday that was getting laundry services done. I was out there doing laundry services to cover a lunch for somebody, and he came there, and we were talking a little bit, and he asked about housing. I asked if he sat with the case manager. He said no. Kind of got some little info from him, had him sit down with the case manager. A few hours later, he was moving into a place. Um, and so, without our case management team really knowing all those resources and being as good as they are with really connect and passionate as they are with connecting people to services, I mean, we're seeing our impact just grow. So I think that's been really really valuable part that's been added. So
That's amazing. Truly, truly is. And so this is a Christian ministry. And
mhm.
so how do you think that is reflected in the day-to-day running of the ministry regarding Saul Homebound?
Yeah. So I believe that when you look at Matthew 25, Jesus says, "I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was naked and you gave me clothing. Uh, um, I was without shelter and you took me in. I was in the hospital, you visited me. I was in prison, you visited me." I believe that in that passage, Jesus is talking about people experiencing homelessness, right? They don't have food, drink, shelter. They don't have clothing. A lot of them are people that just have gotten out of jail, that have records. A lot of them are sick. There's someone we recently were able to move into housing that was getting dialysis 3 times a week because her kidneys were failing her, but she was out on the street. So there's people with medical conditions that get hospitalized, that some people we know that have died on the street from medical conditions. Um, and so that being said, I think the direct services that we provide truly is an example of what Jesus would do if he was here.
Mhm.
We really emphasize, not all of our staff is Christian per se, um, but we make sure that the way that we're interacting with our clients are examples of what Christianity is, and that kindness and that love is shown. Genuine relationships are being created. So that's one. I think two, we hired an outreach pastor.
Mhm.
So the outreach pastor works the outreach services. He helps with the laundry, with the showers, and all that stuff. But so he isn't someone that's just at a desk, right? He's out there mingling with people and creating relationships and genuine friendships with people. He also does church service twice a month. As we speak, he's doing a Bible study. We have a once a week Bible study with a group study with the people out here.
Mhm.
And he also does visitation. So some of our clients get moved into housing. He goes and he visits them and he follows up with them and really continues that relationship. We have two guys that just got moved into housing, and he told me the other day he went to visit, and they were both interested in doing Bible studies with him. So he's going to be doing Bible studies at that house with them. So so yeah, we really try to emphasize that in everything that we do. We're really conscious of that. We want to make sure that we're being an example of who Christ is through our organization. So yeah.
Awesome. That's amazing. Uh, so I know that you mentioned there are two aspects to ending homelessness, which is the day-to-day or the day part and
Services.
the
Mhm.
shelter services as well. So just to ask, what are the current service offerings regarding the day-to-day aspect? I know you gave a run through earlier, but just to reinform us.
Yeah. So we offer showers,
Mhm.
storage services, laundry services, haircuts, clothing, hygiene product. We offer mail services. Some they don't have addresses, so we get mail sent here and we distribute their mail. Food, PPE. We also have case management and I guess you can say chaplaincy or pastoral services as well. So that's spiritual aspect. But that's kind of the rundown of all the services that we offer. We also do our case management team does all kinds of stuff. I mean, they get people signed up for food stamps, Social Security, disability, Medicaid and Medicare. Helps connect them with organizations that get them employed, get them housed. So they're kind of just they just do whatever is needed for that person at that time.
Awesome, awesome. That's amazing. So what has been the most challenging part or obstacle within the ministry thus far? I mean, from the inception to now and the growth that has taken place. I know that you have a vision sometimes, but you never sometimes expect that it would go where where God has taken you. So what has been challenging regarding this ministry thus far?
Yeah, so I think the biggest challenge is I think the biggest challenge for us is, I did mention the kind of growth that and the capacity God's increasing.
Hmm.
I think the challenge is keeping up with that growth. We're constantly needing to get volunteers and interns, and we need to hire people. We're trying to keep up with that growth, and it's been challenging, but we've been able to kind of um, to manage and keep up with it as of right now. But it's continuing to grow, and so we're just continuing to have to meet that challenge, every day that we come in. So um, I'd say that's probably the biggest challenge. I think not only that, that's kind of on the organizational side, but on the side of helping our clients, I think the biggest challenge is there's just not enough affordable housing out there. I mean, you sit down with someone, you hear their story, the shelters might be booked, the services that they need might be booked 2 months in advance. They might need to wait 2 months for a service. Um, and there's nothing you can do at that moment, and you just kind of have to let them go, and that's hard. Our case managers, they have a big heart. And when they're sitting down with someone and you hear their story and there's nothing really you can do in that moment, that's really difficult. And especially day in, day out, every day hearing that, it's rough. And but that's just a motivation for us. That's why we're going into the affordable housing space, because someone needs to, because there just isn't enough.
Okay. So before I venture off into the next question regarding the new affordable housing project that you all are working on, I mean, is there a place that you all are looking for regarding that? I know you said that you're looking at, sorry, what do you call it, tanks or
Shipping containers.
shipping containers? There we go.
Yes.
Yes. But is there like a space regarding where we're gonna have this located and stuff like that?
Yeah, so we're wanting to have a place in Orlando. We're still looking. Right now, it looks like we have an option for land in Sanford, so that's something we're looking toward right now, trying to see how we can work that out. And But we do have a place where we can build out the shipping containers at least. We could worry about where to place them later. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We do need land. We need
Mhm.
land where we can place this. So that's kind of a big challenge right now. And then as far as fundraising, we need to fundraise 200,000 to get 4 shipping containers that are going to be cut in half
Mhm.
and built into family units, 8 family units. So that's something that we're also working on. That's going to be a lot to fundraise for, but that's going to be our first phase. And so we're hoping we can do that by next year.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so being that you get to interact with the homebound on a daily basis and all the volunteers and the members of staff working with the homebound, I'm sure you've heard many stories. What has been a story that has inspired you greatly, a story that touches you every time you remember it, or even the first time that you've heard it?
Yeah, so there was a guy we met named Pat, and we met him back in 2009, late 2018, early 2019. He came to
Mhm.
get a shower with us, and he was so grateful. He just wanted to clean the showers after each person that showered, just to kind of repay us. And so every time we do outreach, he would be out there. Back then we're doing outreach maybe in 2019, I think twice a month, and since we're still all volunteer at that time. And in 2020, when we started to operate 3 days a week, it was only natural that we hire him. And by
Mhm.
that time, we had developed really close relationship. He he was like a brother to us, and we'd celebrate his birthday with him, and we would just hang out with him and talk and get to know each other. And so as soon when we hired him, we were also blessed with the opportunity to end his homelessness at the same time. So we got him into a uh, basically a temporary, like really nice place, and we were going to transition him out of that place into his own place right after. But in June of 2020, he started to limp, and we didn't know what was going on with him. We told him to go get checked out. He was kind of being stubborn, didn't want to get checked out. And in beginning of July of 2020, um, he ended up going to the hospital because the pain was becoming too much. And they found out that he had stage 4 lung cancer that had metastasized and spread to his hip. And that's why he was limping. So the doctor only gave him a few weeks to live at that point, and he didn't want to stay in the hospital. He because of the restrictions with visitors, so he left the hospital. We got him a hotel near or downtown, so he could say bye to his friends and to us.
Mhm.
And when he was in that hotel, one of his last requests was he wanted to be baptized. So we brought a pastor over, and he was baptized in the bathtub of that room. Um, and we all came and visited during that time and all that. And then he ended up going back to the hospital, then transferred to hospice. And me and my wife actually went over and met with him as soon as he moved to hospice, and he ended up passing away the next day. But one thing that's still is really sad, and it affected all of us, and we all were just cried countless tears for him. But we're excited that we're going to see him in heaven, that he had accepted Christ, and he on his own accord started devotions and wanted to be baptized, and he'll have a perfect body and be brand new. So that's exciting for us to be able to see him again. But that's a story that really is closest to my heart.
Amazing. That is truly, it's a sad story, but it is very touching and inspiring, and just how you all were able to make an impact in his life to the point that he wanted to, join your faith and belief system and give his life to Christ, and, have that hope that he will, see you all again. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, So I know you said you all moved the ministry to Sanford, and that's, part of the expansion that SALT has currently taken place. Is there any more goals regarding, a more national ministry, or are we just planning on staying statewide, or what are the goals regarding that
Yeah,
project?
so we'll be in Sanford on October 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will be moving well, we're hoping to expand into Daytona area as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we really want to start closest to us, with cities closest to us and branch out that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the goal is to be in other states. I mean, we want to be in every major city in the United States that needs day services. So that's what we're shooting for.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal.
Awesome. Awesome. So, currently, I know that some of the volunteers are Advent Health. Do you mind, like, list not volunteers but sponsors of
Yeah.
SALT, Advent Health? Do you mind listing the others and just giving them a shout out in?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, Avon Health was our most recent sponsor. So
Mm-hmm.
they sponsored uh, the shower trailer. And we have Simply Healthcare Plans that also is a sponsor. Florida Conference of Seventh Day Adventists is a sponsor, and OUC is a sponsor as well. They actually put solar panels on our shower trailer,
Mm-hmm.
so that was exciting too. So yeah, those are our sponsors right now. We're always looking for corporate sponsorships. Organization or corporations that want to kind of align their brand with a grassroots organization doing something in the unsheltered community, for the unsheltered. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, but how can people, sign up to volunteer for SALT and even become a sponsor if you want to become a corporate sponsor or just a single volunteer or family volunteer? How can one do that?
Yeah. So if you go on our website, saltoutreach.org,
Hmm.
you'll be able to go to the Get Involved tab, and you can become a volunteer by filling out a volunteer application. There's also a Support SALT tab where a corporation can go and do an application for a corporate sponsorship.
Hmm.
Um, and and yeah, there's also, if someone wants to donate under Support SALT, there'll be some donate options as well.
Awesome. Awesome. So I know you said the 200,000 $200,000 for the building of the containers is the
Yes.
next biggest donation that is going to be held. So if anybody can donate towards that, please just give whatever it is that you can to ensure that help we help do our part to end homelessness
Mm,
in the state of Florida.
yeah. Amen.
Yep. So uh what do you feel, this is getting to somewhat the personal part of this portion of the discussion, but when do you feel most fulfilled?
Mm. I think I think, and as a Christian, I think I feel most fulfilled when not only someone gets housing. I mean, that is a fulfilling feeling, right? You're able to get someone from experiencing homelessness to in a safe place and house. That's fulfilling. But what's even more fulfilling is someone accepting Christ into their life and feeling that freedom that we feel as Christians, Um, and I think that's the most rewarding feeling that I felt working through this ministry. I mean, we've had people decide to follow Christ, from being volunteers, our clients, the people we help, our leadership, maybe that wanted to recommit their lives to Christ and that kind of thing. It's been amazing to see those things, and that's really the most fulfilling thing for me.
That's awesome. What do you want your personal legacy to be?
Hmm. Um, Personal legacy. Um, I think something that I really would like to accomplish and see is I want other people to know that they can do something similar too, that there is no limit to what God can do through them. And so, like, I want people to, and I want to help people to accomplish their dreams as it pertains to what God has put on their heart to help the people that are hurting and that are forgotten and people that are struggling. And so that's, I want to be able to, yeah, I guess that would be kind of what I would want to see as like, I guess, a legacy. It's one thing to be able to run something and be a part of something and start something like this, and work in it, but it's another thing to help someone else do the same thing, right? And that's discipleship, right? I think that's what I want to do. I want to be able to equip people to be able to do the same thing where they are. It's going to take time, but that's ultimately what I want to aim to do for other people.
That's an amazing personal legacy. That's not many people. Some people get to where they are and just forget about where they came from, and so just to
Mm.
help bring others along, even on their personal journey, is an amazing goal to have and legacy to leave behind. So that's amazing. So congratulations on your recent marriage.
Oh,
So
thank you.
you're welcome. So in choosing a spouse, what qualities were you looking for? And if there is a tie into, the ministry of or the homebound ministry and the ministry of marriage, can you just discuss the duality in those ministries?
Yeah, yeah. Um, Quality. So I think you know, when it comes to uh my marriage and the qualities in my wife that I saw that really kind of drew me to her were definitely a heart of service is number one. And that relationship with God, that calling to follow God's will and to act on God's will, and they actually act. I think that was really important for me, and my wife is like that. I mean, she'll do anything for anyone, even if she's hurting and she's going through something, she'll still sacrifice to help other people, and I think that's a beautiful thing. Um, but also, I think, um, I think another key thing too is just kind of exemplifying the kind of love uh, that Christ has for people. That's also another very important thing. And having that understanding, that empathy, is really key. Um, as far as duality between marriage and the ministry,
Hmm.
um, like, do you mean qualities uh, of the ministry itself, or of like compared to
Well, I
um
just know that some people view marriage in itself as a ministry. And, just concerning the
I
ministry,
see.
right, the homebound ministry, just what do you think are the parallels there? And also, I know that you mentioned the qualities that you're looking for when looking for your wife, but like, I'm sure that since salt played a heavy role in your heart, the woman that you were looking for had to have somewhat of a similar passion for service and,
Yeah,
same ministry.
exactly. Yeah, no, that was definitely key. Someone that would be supportive and of this type of ministry, and even involved, and she
Mhm.
always has been. Yeah, and marriage is a ministry too. And like you said, I think you know I think a hard part in people very involved in ministry after getting married is, okay, now marriage is now my number one ministry, and so
Mhm.
this is now goes below. And I think that transition can sometimes be difficult. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think the marriage ministry is the most important ministry that you have if you're married. And learning how to sacrifice, make sacrifices in certain areas of your life to make that your number one priority is something that I think, everyone has to learn when they get married, especially people, like I said, really involved in ministry and stuff like that. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So has that been a challenge for you both, the transition, or was it a smooth transition being that she was already involved within Salt Homebound Ministry and then getting married? Was it
Yeah,
seamless?
I think uh I think what made it difficult was we were so busy, not just with Salt, but I mean, when we were together, even before we got married, I was in school, I was working, and I was doing Salt. She was in school, internship, working, and helping with Salt. I mean, that was the hard part, is helping to kind of one match our schedules and make the sacrifices needed to be able to make sure that we're spending time together.
Mhm.
But also, uh, you know, just kind of. Yeah, I guess that, I mean, that's really the main thing. I don't think, was it hard for us? I mean, yeah, it was hard to get that balance together and be able to figure out what sacrifices needed to be made. What did we need to cut out of our life to make sure that marriage was number one priority? And I think a lot of people might go through that, married couples, like, trying to be more intentional about uh um showing that love
Mhm.
and uh proving that marriage is number one and nothing else is above that, so yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that, with us. Uh, what advice, though, would you give to, let's say, people within the same faith, the Christian faith, or if not, but people who are involved in probably a similar or even nonprofit organization, or single people, but who are looking towards marriage? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, so um my advice would be, I believe that if you I think sometimes people focus so much on trying to find their spouse
Hmm.
that that becomes such a that's they put that above service, right? Above service to God and making sure they're serving God and doing what they're called to do, that they're focused so much on just trying to find that person. And
Hmm.
sometimes doing service isn't even about service, it's about meeting other people. And that's not, and we've seen that, and the heart just isn't there. But I believe that if someone just focuses on serving God, that God will cross your path with someone who you can be happy with, and has the same values as you. Um, so that's one thing I would recommend, for single people, is just continue to serve God, focus on your service to Him and what He's called you to do, and He will make that your paths cross. I mean, if you look at like Ruth and Boaz, I mean, Boaz was just working, right? And Ruth was working, but she just happened to kind of veer off a little into his path where he was working, and then he was asking his friends, "Hey, who's that?" I think I believe that's an example of how you both just focus on what you need to do for God, and he'll cross your paths. Um, so that's one. And I think two, um, I think, yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I think
That's,
that's it. Yeah,
yeah, that's great
yeah.
advice, truly. And I mean, I know for me personally, as a single person, I have gotten distracted as well, like in the pursuit of searching for a spouse and not focusing on things that, God wants me to do, not focusing on things that I can improve regarding gifts and talents and being of service to God, and just, being the whole woe was me, and I'm this certain age and I'm still single. So it's, but I do find there is joy and peace in just waiting on God and His perfect timing. And this, like you mentioned, the stories of that bring hope in the Bible, that, just when you do your part and someone else is doing theirs, alignment will come. So
Mm.
I thank you for that
Yeah,
advice.
yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So what is your definition of success?
My definition of success, huh? I think I think my definition of success isn't aligned with like money or property or what you have or what you end up owning. I don't define success that way. I think I define success more on if you're if you're doing what God has called you to do, um, and I don't know. I almost feel like success um, is being consistent in what God has called you to do. I think that's success, because I think so many people have um, I think define success as having reached a certain financial number, or having the American dream and living in your own home and working a job that pays you well and all that. But I don't think that's success. I think success, especially for Christian, I mean, I'm talking about, I guess, for Christians, is just knowing that you're doing what God has called you to do and staying consistent and not giving up.
Mhm.
That's how I think that's how I define success.
Awesome. That's amazing. And everyone's definition of it is different,
Hmm.
and not saying that having earthly possessions or those pursuits are wrong,
Right.
but yeah, just to have a definition for yourself where you feel confident and no one else can make you feel less than because you don't have certain things is it's amazing to have your own definition. So
Hmm.
that's
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with the pursuit of those things. I know that there's like there's some people do feel like there is something wrong with that, and there isn't. I think that they come, but I don't think that should necessarily be like our number one focus. I feel like there should be a focus more on what God has called you to do, and God will provide those other things, you know what I mean, as you move forward. But that's just my yeah, my definition, like you said. So
so this is the last question. What are you most proud of yourself for?
um, most proud of myself.
Mhm.
Um hmm. I think maybe what I'm most proud of, I think it ties back to what we were talking about, where yeah, I guess that we didn't give up, even when things were kind of looking not so good, when we were getting salt started, and we had a bunch of, maybe there were issues and conflicts and um, big roadblocks, that we just kept moving forward and we never looked back. You know what I mean? I think I would say that is what I'm most proud of. Yeah.
That's awesome. That just led me to one more question,
Hmm.
and then we'll be done. How do you affirm yourself on a daily basis? I know that, spearheading a ministry such as this, that is, currently expanding, as great as that is for the impact that you will have, on in the state of Florida and in Orlando, I'm sure there are, some challenges. So how do you stay at peace? How do you affirm yourself daily in preparation for a job such as this and the responsibilities that it holds?
Yeah. So I think so definitely one is, devotional and prayer is always a given, no matter what you're doing. Connecting with God, talking with God is always going to be something that will fuel you for the rest of the day. Um, I guess I haven't really, when I had the experience that helped kind of lead Salt to start, I felt as if, when you believe that God has called you to do something and you're 100% sure, the way I look at it is that it's as if God came down himself and said, Eric, this is what I want you to do. And when you're so sure about that, um, there is there's no option to fail or to give up or whatever. And I mean, you will have, I guess, failures along the way, but but you will fall. But knowing that that he 100% wants you to do this, has helped me to continue to move forward and just not look back. You know what I mean? No matter how hard the days is, I mean, there's just this is it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that mindset has helped a lot with myself and moving forward with salt. So
That's awesome. That is very awesome. Thank you so much for, just sitting here and talking about salt and even your personal journey and just being so open, honest, and vulnerable and just sharing all that you have shared. I really do appreciate it. And I am really just hoping and praying and wishing for more growth, more donations, more sponsorships, more volunteers, and all the resources that are needed for salt outreach and Salt Homebound Ministry to just grow and have a greater impact in Orlando and possibly nationwide in the future. So, like I mentioned earlier, it's donate if you can, donate whatever you have. It will make a difference, it will make an impact. You know, from $10 to 25 and going forward, just do what you can and do it consistently, like he said. And that is definitely what success is about. And let's successfully end homelessness here in the state of Florida and do our part as believers in Christ, in God, whoever it is that you believe in. We all have a part to play as human beings in helping those who are experiencing homelessness and being unsheltered. So yes, thank you again,
of
and
course, thank you, Casey. I was happy to come on and be a part of this. So thank you.
I really do appreciate it. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening. Thank you for sharing with me, and God bless. God bless you
All
in the
right.
ministry and your marriage, and have a good one.
Thank you. You too, Casey.
All
All
right,
right.
bye.
Bye bye.